ever wondered if you could learn another language like Spanish, French, or Chinese? What about American Sign Language? Do you know what American Sign Language is and how it came about? Well, I'm here today to tell you all about ASL. All of us have met someone whose means of communication is ASL. I personally have been working with ASL for the past 3 years. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history, benefits, and structure of ASL. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the history of ASL. An educator named Thomas Gaudet went to France to teach at the School of Deaf in Paris and brought over to the US what he learned there. Many signs that were used early on and that are still used today were based off the French Sign Language. In 1880, signing was becoming criticized by a group of people in Europe who believed speech was a prominent role in deaf children's education. This is from The Signing Family by David Stewart in 1998. Alexander Graham Bell believed that students should learn orally, and he discouraged the use of ASL. 30 years after this movement, signing wasn't utilized or taught in schools. Even in deaf schools, teachers were asked to teach orally, so deaf teachers weren't being hired, and there wasn't sign language being taught at all. In the 1960s, there was a sign language comeback. This is because researchers did a study showing deaf students with deaf parents that use ASL as their main means of communication were doing better in schools and had better social skills. The research got people to take a second look at the benefits ASL can have. This is also from The Signing Family by David Stewart in 1998. Next, I want to talk to you about the benefits ASL can have in hearing and in deaf students. Children can better remember things by learning ASL at the same time as they are learning basic things in a general ed class. Gaudet believed that employment of sign language as an additional sensory channel provided a strong language base for young hearing learners, giving them a great advantage when learning reading and writing. For deaf people, it gives them a way to have social interaction. In many restaurants, grocery stores, workplaces, etc., they don't have people that know ASL. So when someone does know ASL, it is easier for a deaf person to communicate and interact with them, better growing their social skills. ASL also gives people social identity. ASL is their identity, and when they use ASL, they can show people that they are deaf and have knowledge of ASL. Others will see this and use it as a way to identify them as a deaf person. Next, I'm going to talk to you about the structure of ASL, which includes phonology, morphology, syntax, space, and non-manual characteristics. Phonology, which includes location, handshake, movement, and orientation of signs. And morphology, which is word formation, and in English, is done by asphyxiation and is sequential. In ASL, it's by active movement and is done simultaneously. Next is syntax. And this is word order in both English and ASL. It's a subject, verb, object sequence. In ASL, the main subject is often put first so that the signer can focus the information, the other person's attention on this information. Space is indexing and verb tense. Lastly is non-manual characteristics. This includes movement of the eyes, mouth, face, hand, and body. The example given in the book, Dancing with Words, is in the sentence, she is old. It can be signed as a simple declarative sentence by furrowing the brow and exaggerating the hand movement when old is signed. The signer can indicate she is very, very old, or by shaking the head in a negative manner while signing the affirmative, she is old, alters the sentence and conveys a sarcastic meaning, suggesting that she is not old but immature. Now, let's go over what we have discussed. We have talked about how ASL came to the U.S., the benefit it gives hearing and deaf students as well as adults, and the structure of ASL. Remember, ASL is a great language for children to utilize. It gives them insight to a whole community that people might be unaware of, and is a great language for anyone to learn.